Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, Today we are doing the fourth love language. We've talked so far. We've done three. We've talked about words of affirmation, quality time, and then receiving gifts. For this video, we are going to talk about acts of service, and let's just jump straight into it. So, acts of service is doing things you or your spouse would like done. So acts of service is basically, now this is where the action comes in, and it's not about words. This is where action comes in. Now the action is one which speaks louder than words. This is where we can talk about that. So I'll use traditional setup. um, when acts of service is not your love language, and you're a man, you get married, you're the husband, you usually expect your wife to do things in the house, take care of the baby, cook, clean, wash the clothes, iron, blah, 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 all that. To you, that's an expectation when acts of service is not your love language. But when you have a husband whose acts of service, when as a wife you do such things like clean the house, iron his clothes, do the laundry, take care of the baby, make the bed, such things, pack his lunch. To him, that shows you love him from the bottom of your heart. He gets out of that house knowing my wife loves me, my wife cares about me. He brags to his friends how you love him because you do all these things. So that's, I just wanted to use that definition or explanation to show you how deep acts of service are. Because to you are thinking, doesn't every man want a clean house? Yes, men do want that, but to a man whose acts of service, it just hits different. It hits different because you're speaking his love language. You making the bed every morning, you cleaning the house, you taking care of the baby, ensuring when he comes home everything is clean, his food is served on the table, shows you love him so, 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 so much. So that's what acts of service is. It's doing things makes that person feel loved. If you're a woman and you like it when your husband um what can change the light bulb, cleans out high to reach places, is able to find the problem with your car, or is willing to drive to the garage on your behalf so that you don't have to deal with the mechanic, because the mechanic can con you, because most of the time maybe some of us women don't understand anything to do with cars. So such things where he's able to go out of his way to pick something up for you in the supermarket, those things make you feel loved. Quality time doesn't speak for you. Words of affirmation doesn't speak for you. Receiving gifts doesn't speak for you. But when one of you, when your spouse is able to do things for you, you feel the love. You have butterflies in your stomach. They even look more beautiful. They look more handsome. So that's what acts of service is. Yeah. For me, an act of service would be more of an expectation. Like if my husband sees there's a problem with my car, I kind of expect him to take charge and say, I'll go to the garage for you. And when he does it, I'm thankful, but I don't feel the love. And you see, when I did my former video, I said words of affirmation, quality time, and I think I'm also acts of service. No, I'm not acts of service. For me, acts of service is an expectation. That's why I use the definition of a husband who expects to come home and find the it's an expectation to find food on the table, the traditional way. Yeah, so I'm kind of like that. But don't get me wrong, I ain't rude about it. I'm not rude about it. I'll appreciate the effort for sure. And I'll be thankful and grateful. But I won't say at you, oh, you've spoken my love language. I won't say that. So for me, just to correct what I said, in my previous first 5 languages video, I am not acts of service. That's why I always say this thing is so interesting. That's why I want you guys to like write notes, because you think you're this and you realize you're not. Yeah. So I only have 2 love languages. I'd like to hear if any of you have more than 2. That would be interesting to know. And before you think you have more than 2, just realize that try to separate your love language and an expectation. Because as I've said, I expect, for me, acts of service is an expectation. So when it comes to receiving gifts, that one I know for sure, and it's not, it's, for me, it's not there. If it's receiving gifts, like if it's receiving gifts for self, receiving gifts about self, then I explained, me, I want quality time over self presence. You see, so that's how I know it's not me. So I want you guys, when I'm explaining these things, separate expectation and your love language. So if you can see this as an expectation, it's not your love language. What you see as your love language is your love language. All right. So when it comes to acts of service, we have this one for doormat. Are you a doormat or a lover? It's very easy to take advantage of, especially a wife who is acts of service. Yeah, but it's true. It's very easy. So if the wife is acts of service, it's very easy to make her a doormat. Because a wife who is acts of service, I'm telling you, once you enter that door, she wants to remove your jacket and hang it. She wants to remove your shoes. She's like, sit down, I bring you a glass of water as you wait for the food. So now you can say, hey, wow, this, yeah. So you take her advantage of her and make her a complete doormat. So you need to be careful, because there's only so much she can give with no receiving. She'll reach to a point, she'll say, yo, I surrender, I can't take this anymore. So don't make her a doormat. When she's doing all these things, some women were brought up by their parents to do them, but you can tell when she's not doing it out of learning, but from her love language. As I said, I'll do another video which I'll ask you questions to know how to gauge, and also know how to read someone's love language more if you still don't understand how to do that. So ensure you don't make your wife a doormat if her love language is acts of service. Because, man, I'm telling your wife who is acts of service, ooh, she'll serve you like a king. So treat her as a lover and not a doormat. I'm looking down to see if there's anything I need to see on this. Yes, and then I wrote here, when your wife is serving you because she's acts of service, I've just put a disclaimer here for ladies. If you realize that your husband is not this love language, don't stop doing these things, because I know you as acts of service, you enjoy them. You truly enjoy doing these things. It's not even a work, it's not even a job to you. It's just pure love. You enjoy it. Even you look forward to him to enter that door so you can serve him. So if you realize this isn't your husband's love language, don't get tired of doing these things. Just continue. And I'm sure he won't complain, So, and then for the men, I tell them again, don't make them doormats. You just speak their love language. So if your wife is she's doing this acts of service for you. Oh, forgive me. Let me go back. This is what I meant. Women, if this is your love language, don't stop doing it, because I'm sure your husband will not complain. But realize you're not supposed to speak your love language to him. All right? You're supposed to speak his love language to him. So if you realize your husband is not acts of service, that's why I had said, don't stop doing it, because I'm sure there's no man who would complain to be served. But also find out his love language. So if you're good at serving him and his quality time, as yours, when once you've served him, he's comfortable. Now sit down as the two of you are eating. Spend the time together. All right. That's how it works. But for acts of service, unless a man wants to comment on the comment section below that he has a problem when his wife serves him, I don't think he'll have a problem with that. And that's when I put, now men, if you realize serving is natural to her, that's her love language, you speak her love language now. If she's acts of service, do acts of service for her. If she needs you to do something and she's been asking you for the longest, do it. Surprise her. She's been asking you to paint the wall. That's just an example. In this particular room that's barely used, because she wants to start using it, but she's been begging you to paint the wall because she's too short to reach, or that's not what she desires to do. And then one day you decide to do it when she's walked out of the house, you decide to paint. Yo, that's an act of service you've done for her. So she's doing this acts of, when you realize she's acts of service, give back the love with acts of service. Do something. And especially start with those things she's been begging you to do for a long time and you've been ignoring. She's telling you, do this, do this, do this. She keeps singing the same song to the point even she stops singing it. Just do it. Now you're speaking her language. All right. So the other one is overcoming stereotypes. Oh, I like this one a lot. Even though I'm not acts of service, I really like this one. Because overcoming stereotypes was, we as men, things have started changing, but the men of old days and some young men still have this mentality. We believe there are some chores that are just for women. You won't find, a man can tell you won't find me cleaning the house. Though I'm saying things have changed, but I'm saying there are still some people who think this way. You won't find me cleaning the house. There's no way I'm going to buy diapers. There's no way I'm changing the baby's diaper. There's no way I'm going to wash clothes. There's no way. And especially now sometimes where you don't have a washing machine, there's no way I'm going to do those things. But if you overcome the stereotype because your wife's love language is acts of service, and actually say, you know what, today let's share duties. As you're washing the baby, I'll wash the sitting room. As you're washing the dishes, I'll dry the dishes. As you're washing, I can wash the laundry and you can do something else. You see, you're speaking her love language and you're overcoming stereotypes. Yo, I'll change the diaper today. Or if, especially in where I come from in Kenya, nowadays, as I've said, things have changed, but finding a man, sending a husband to go and buy diapers, whoa, a long time ago, that was a big deal. So when your wife asks you, when you're coming home, could you get the diapers? Do it. Yani do those things you feel are not quote unquote manly, men should not do. If you overcome those stereotypes when your wife is acts of service, I'm just imagining how much she love you back. You have spoken her language 150%. I really admire when I see husbands with their children and there's no wife around, meaning the wife was left at home to do something else and the man decided to take the children out. I find that really beautiful. It's just nice to see. So those things that you find unmanly, do them. Again, when you speak your spouse's love language, you're just igniting a beautiful fire in your marriage. There is no loss. The only thing is you'll put a lot of work effort. It's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be easy, because I think I've said this, that there are times you won't feel like doing it, but when you do it, you won't regret it. All right, so those are the two definitions for um da, 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 da. I've talked so much, even I'm almost forgetting what I was saying. Oh yeah, those are the two definitions for acts of service. And the best way to explain was usually a huge emphasis on the wives. But I'm sure it's also about the husbands. You've understood, right? If not, let me know. Until the next video, peace.